Hello, amazing parents. Welcome back to another episode of Parenting Powerhouse, where we often dive pretty deep into the challenges, the joys, always, and we're always growing, right? And that comes with all of it comes with raising neurodivergent teens and young adults. I'm Tara Travell, your host, and today we're tackling something we've all faced pushback. That resistance we get from our kids, whether it's about boundaries they're pushing back on or resisting, expectations, or just anything during the day, daily routines, things they already know, things that are new, whatever. For neurodivergent teens, this can be even more intense than just regular teenage behavior. So let's get into it. Let's try to unpack this together today. First, I want to just get real with you about myself and just where I'm coming from. Because if you're like me, you know how exhausting it is and can feel when our teens push back. And it's not just the pushback itself, right? It's the part of us that takes it personally. That inner voice saying, why can't they see what I'm trying to do here? Why can't they see that I'm really trying my hardest? I'm trying. I just want to help. But when there's no compromise on their end, it leaves us feeling drained and maybe even questioning our confidence. And I get it because I live it too. And, it- you know, almost on a daily basis. But I want you to realize that you're not doing anything wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong. It's just, is there another way to look at it? Is there a way to kind of take maybe a different perspective, a different approach. And that's what I'm here to do to help you with that. So sometimes, I realize I have to step back. And I think this is one of the hardest things we do because when we're in the moment, we're really feeling it, right? And we're just feeling like we need to help. We know what we can do. And the pushback is just them being defiant. But let's really be honest here because, this is all easier said than done, of course. And it can feel almost impossible in those heated moments, right in that moment. And I know myself, like my emotions are so present that I just get in my own way. That's when I know it's time to kind of reconnect, to build myself up with self compassion, self love, and resilience for myself first. Because I know that the stronger I am in these areas or these challenges or experiences, the more capable I am of showing up powerfully when things get tough. And that's really the goal here is the self-empowerment so that we are resilient, we are strong, we are confident. And when we get this pushback, we get this attitude, whatever it is, we can handle it instead of, getting emotional and dysregulated. So every time I try something new, it, you know, brings me like a sense of joy. And I talk about this a lot. And we hear mindfulness being thrown around all the time. And it is great to practice mindfulness, to become mindful, but it's hard work. It really is. And I practice it a lot. I practice it so much that, I like it to be automatic as often as possible. So practice makes it permanent. And with that being said, okay, I want to be mindful, but I'm always constantly looking for ways to level up my self-care in any way, right? And I have a whole toolkit now, okay? Meditation that I enjoy. Well, it's really hard for me to do it on my own. I usually need some guided meditation, makes it easier. Restorative yoga, I found several months ago that I love. Just grounding techniques, essential oils. Geez, if you're attracted to certain smells, well, your body needs it, right? For something. Forest bathing, sound therapy. And I have to share this with you because just recently I had my first breathwork session. And, I've tried many, many things, but this one was so profound for me. It just gave me like a sense of peace and clarity I haven't felt in a long time. So I am going to kind of, discover a little bit more about this breath work. I'm going to look into it and really, because I don't know much about it, and I didn't know what to expect, but I loved it. So of course, if something makes me happy, go for it, right? Um, because every time I do try something new, it just brings me closer to feeling grounded and more in touch with myself. So at this point, it's not really thinking about how can I connect with somebody else. It's really about connecting with myself. Because once I do that, I feel better. And then things just seem a little easier. So I want to share this with you, not because I think you need to try every single thing, everything that I've tried, no. And you may have tried some of the things, they work, they don't work, whatever. But because I know that there's something out there that can make a difference for you too. And when we take that time to care for ourselves, to really build ourselves up, we get to show up with more love and strength and that resilience we need, not just for ourselves, but for our kids too. So if you're really feeling that exhaustion or feeling worn down by the pushback, know that I'm here with you. You're definitely not alone. And remember that this journey, this self-care, if you want to call it that, I like to move further and say self-compassion, leads to that self-care, which then leads to self-empowerment and self-love. This building of inner strength, though, it's all a part of showing up as the most powerful version of yourself. Keep that in mind. Let's learn to show up as the most powerful version of ourselves. Believe me, you've got this. So let's get into that pushback because, we really want to think about, okay, what is it? Where's it coming from? How do we look at this maybe a little differently? And what do we do about it? So when we get pushback from our teens and our young adults, because that's happening. So when we get pushback from our teens and young adults, what's really going on? It's easy to think this is just teenage rebellion. And of course, there's some of that. But there's so much more beneath that surface, especially for our neurodivergent teens. And first off, let's remember they are pushing for autonomy, just like any other teen. And this goes into young adulthood. That's why we add young adults here as well. They're at that developmental stage where independence is everything. And our neurodivergent teens, it just takes a lot longer to get through this process. But here's the added layer, they're also dealing with these developmental delays, right? That can make it harder for them to fully understand why they're feeling this way. And when they look around, they see their peers who seem to be cruising, through life. They're doing this stuff with less support, which can, trigger that defensiveness. And what happens from that? Then their self-esteem and self-confidence is compromised. And they might even think like, why do I need this extra help when others don't? And that's where the real pushback intensifies. So for our neurodivergent teens, their fight, flight, or freeze responses is often heightened, right? We know that. We see it often. Um, and that means when they're pushing back, it's not just about that surface issue, it's more of a defense mechanism. And when that defense kicks in, man, it is like a hurricane of emotions and reactions. It's really intense and it's so fast. It just seems to happen so fast. It's intense. Okay. It's intense for them. And we know it's intense for us. And we have to remember that, again, I say this all the time that in every experience like this, we're a parent for the first time, like experiencing that for the first time, and our kids are experiencing some of these emotions for the first time. So we're like newbies all the time, right? And if we build up strength and resilience and we are confident in ourselves and become self empowered, that's where we can stand up to this stuff, right? One experience at a time. So, what do we do when we're caught in the middle of one of these emotional storms? The key is reduce friction. And I know this is easier said than done. I'll say it again. I know. But let's take a moment and we're going to try to really understand the big picture. So, we are trying to build our kids' self esteem and confidence, right? But if they're in fight, flight, or freeze mode, their self esteem is fragile. And if we then push too hard, we risk damaging that self confidence even further. And the cycle continues. They're not learning, it just keeps looping, right? They push back more, and it becomes, as you know, some say, a whole hot mess. So now we're kind of stuck. Everybody's stuck. And we're in a loop with our emotions. They're in a loop with theirs. And that's why it's a big, hot mess. So, first, we just have to pause and breathe. Okay. People say that all the time, but oh my gosh, is it powerful? If we can pause for a second and just take a breath and realize what's going on, that's that step back we need. And we can try to understand what's maybe driving that reaction. Do we need to really understand it or make assumptions? No. But we can think about it and we can think, okay, maybe we don't understand what's going on. Maybe we are taking it kind of personally and we just want to jump in there and help or react. Maybe it's hormones. Now, this is a biggie. This is a big area that we're going to cover in another episode, but those hormones that our teens and young adults are experiencing, all those changes, ups and downs, and fluctuations, well, guess what? We are too, because we are most likely in a perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause state in our life. And this can start in our 30s and 40s and go up through into our 60s. So, yeah, our hormones are all over the place too. That's why it's a hot mess, you know? Um, if it's not hormones, which, that's kind of hard to believe, but maybe it's just frustration. Maybe it's just the weight of being different from their peers. Maybe that's what we're dealing with. Maybe it's the weight of us being different from our peers and other parents. And if we can approach it this way, then we're approaching it more with empathy for ourselves and for them. And that's what's important here. We can do as much as we can try to do for our kids and empathize and everything. But you know what? If we're not feeling it for ourselves, then we're not giving 100% like we need to. Or, sometimes we may need to give a little more than 100%, but we're not. We can't. If we're coming at it with only feeling 40% for ourselves, then what's happening to the other 60%? We're probably not going to get anywhere. So, here's the good news. And I don't want to talk about all the doom and gloom, just kind of like the things that are happening. But I do have a solution that I'm just going to talk about real quickly because it is working. We have a great group of moms already in this program. Um, and my program, Parenting Powerhouse, is just designed to help moms like you and me, who are feeling overwhelmed and unsupported or disconnected. It's about shifting from feeling like maybe you're at a loss, to being confident, empowered, and really equipped with strategies that actually work. These strategies come from a different perspective, a different mindset. But it's not just about tools, it's really about transforming that mindset, right? Because when we change how we approach these moments of pushback, everything shifts. And Parenting Powerhouse focuses on helping you improve communication, understand their triggers, create a more peaceful and fulfilling family life is the goal, right? And it's about realizing that when we ask for help, it's not a sign of weakness, it's really a sign of strength. And when we look at it that way, all we need is a little help unlocking our own strengths and confidence, and then we can meet our kids where they are. And hey, I know the cycle. I know you've been there, feeling like you're just holding it all together, thinking, I should be able to do this on my own. Believe me, I was there. I was thinking the same thing. But let me tell you, it's really okay to need support. It doesn't make you any less of an amazing parent. In fact, it really shows just how committed you are to your child's growth and happiness. So that makes you a great parent. So think about this then. Okay, how many times have you seen yourself in your child? That fierce independence, the I don't need help attitude. Okay, like if we really look, we can probably see ourselves in them. Okay, and that just brings us back to earth, right? So sometimes we're kind of stuck in our own pushback cycle, But here's the reality, parenting isn't meant to be done alone. It really isn't, and our kids are watching. When we model that it's okay to ask for help, we're kind of giving them permission to do the same. Now, they may not admit it to us. They might not do it right away, but you know what? We're kind of giving them permission. They're still learning from us. They want to learn from us whether they say it or not. And we can just empower them to be okay with needing support, even as little bits at a time. And that's the kind of strength that builds real confidence, not just in them, but it's going to build it in us too. And you know what? I'll say it again. You're a great parent. It's all in there. Maybe it's just hidden beneath the overwhelm right now, but together we're going to try to unlock this. Okay. So as we close out today, I want you to remember this. Pushback from your teen or young adult, it really isn't a sign of failure. Okay. It isn't. It's a sign of their growth and yours. It's growth. And when you meet them in that space with that compassion, self compassion for yourself, which will help you with more compassion and understanding, the big shifts are going to happen. Maybe tiny baby steps at a time, but they're going to be big shifts. And you're not alone in this. And if you're ready to tap into your strengths as a parent, I'd love for you to join me in the Parenting Powerhouse program. Together, we can uncover that calm, the confidence, connection that's waiting for you. Now, this is application only, so you really need to set up a time for a short 15-minute chat just so that we can go over some of the parts of the program that may be a fit and it may not be for you. And we really need it to be a good fit for you where you are right now in your journey so that it will work for you. So, I just want to thank you for being here. And remember, your kid needs you just as you are. You've got this. And before you go, just be sure to visit my website for more insights and resources to help you on this journey. Follow me for more conversations like this. And if you're really ready to take the next step, check out the link in the description to learn more about the Parenting Powerhouse program. It's created just for moms like you. And if you mentioned to me you heard about this program from listening to my podcast, you'll receive a 10% discount. So until next time, be kind to yourself, please. Embrace this journey. And don't forget to breathe. I'll see you in the next episode of Parenting Powerhouse.